Where is Pesh? Where is he? Where could he be? Someone's feeling a little mischievous today.
4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Silver grind, silver grind, silver grind, silver grind, silver grind, silver grind, silver. I'm going to say silver grind so many times until it doesn't even make sense anymore. How's everybody doing today?
Silver grind.
Silver grind.
This is what 45 cups of coffee looks like.
Truly. Like, it's my last vice. Caffeine. Caffeine is a drug too, you know? You put enough of it in you and then you can't stop talking. Anyway, all right, so me.
Today,
you know, I have a dog named Loki. He is my cute little...
The god of mischief.
The god of mischief and fire. He's a dachshund.
How's Modi doing?
Modi's good. I just sent Modi to training. Modi's at a camp for 2 weeks. He went away yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
And he's supposed to come back a new dog, right?
Wow.
It will be not mischievous.
I haven't even done that.
Look, I love these little things.
Send me away for 2 weeks.
Current mood. Overstimulated. Pesh
That's perfect.
all the way.
We gotta keep overstimulated.
Totally
going.
me.
That's what's going on right now.
How's everyone doing today?
The mood of
I
the
see
day
all
is
my friends are starting to
overstimulated.
come on, and some of your friends, and all of our friends. And there's Odie Martinez. How you doing?
Hey, Odie.
Look at Odie's current mood is crying out of laughter. Tears of joy. Okay, anyway, so today we have a special show on the show.
Yes.
By the way, in
Yes.
case you don't know, this is Austin.
Hello.
This is Austin Armstrong. He's my guest.
Pleasure.
I mean, not my guest. He's my co-host.
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 We're 50 episodes in. Did you forget who I was?
Are we 50?
Just about.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
Or time flies when you're really spun.
We'll do something
anyway,
crazy for the 50th.
That's right, for the
Definitely.
50th.
Definitely.
So,
But
what's our show about today?
So our topic today is what nurtures addiction. But before we get into start thinking about your questions there.
Let's get rid of this thing.
Okay, that's a
I'm
distraction.
overstimulated with that thing.
Before we get into that, I want to highlight that you just spoke at UCI.
We, you know, in the last week,
Talk about that. That was good
a
stuff.
couple of things. So, University of California, Irvine has a, what was it called, Odie? DOA?
Alcohol and drugs.
AOD, alcohol
and other drug.
and other drugs week.
Yeah.
First time at UCI that they actually had an event like that. So for each day they had different panels and they talked about drugs and addiction and you know, obviously on school campuses and a lot of colleges, a lot of people are doing a lot of Adderall, right, and staying up all night long and studying a lot extensively.
Yes.
But we were down there. I was actually a dynamic group. Daniel Garza was there.
Yeah, shout out to Daniel Garza. He set us up. Great guy. Check him out.
As well as a
He's
friend
a
of
good
ours
podcast,
who teaches at the school, and then a couple of other guys that were students in recovery. So Odie was there. He was filming. It was well received. A really good event. Well attended. A lot of interaction between the students and all the different attendees. They would ask us questions. We would answer them to the best of our ability. We talked about everything from different types of drugs, different types of addictions, what our recovery looked like, and then the family dynamic and how that all works together too. And then the following day for
Hello, Solange.
hi Sol, Austin's right here. Anyway, the following day we spoke at. I went for another thing. My friend Danny Murphy has an organization called Stop Before You Start, and he goes to all the different various high schools in Orange County and Los Angeles County, and we speak to the students. Usually the demographic, the type of students that we're usually speaking to are anywhere from 14 to 15 years of age.
Okay.
And we talk about, we try not to go in there and tell them don't do drugs because that doesn't really work, especially if...
So at that age, 14 to 15, so
Yes.
they begin starting to be exposed to drugs and alcohol, right? Even a little younger.
You ask, when you're standing in their classrooms and you ask them, have you seen people on campus, or do you have friends, or do you know friends of friends that have experimented with drugs? Usually they'll raise their hands. Yeah. If you ask them in the classroom setting, have you ever done it? No one raises their hand.
Of course not.
Right? No one's ever. And then we say, like, we laugh with them and we're like, well, we didn't expect you to say anything. Especially with your teacher sitting right here, right now in a health class where they're trying to teach you not to do that.
Never.
But that was a good experience. It's always nice to go. Ironically, you know, it's really cool that when I was in high school, I remember Costa Mesa High School and Woodbridge High School. I jumped around to a lot of different high schools. We would have special speakers come out and talk to us about their addiction. Yeah. And I remember at the age of 17, there was a lady that came down. Not 17, I was like 16.
We only had DARE. and it was so ineffective.
We had
there was
Dare.
nothing in my high school.
Well, we had Dare, but there was this lady that came down one time and talked to us about her cocaine addiction and how she was walking the streets of Harbor Boulevard, prostituting herself. She was at this place called the Motor Inn Motel, and
It just sounds like a lovely place.
oh, it sounds like 5-star,
Five star
in the motel room, in the motel world. Yeah, great amenities. We have a pool. Not to say that you can swim in it or anything, but we have a pool. But regardless, so when she was speaking, I remember thinking at the age of like 16 years old, this poor lady, she's shot out, right? Like, what's wrong with her? Like, I'll never end up like her, right? Meanwhile, I had marijuana in my pocket, and back then it wasn't legal, and I couldn't wait for her to finish talking so I could leave that classroom and go out and get high in the parking lot. In the place in high schools where a lot of kids go and congregate, a lot of the kids, the little outcasts, they go to their little corner.
Yeah, so we talked about the smoking tree.
The smoking section. So, so I couldn't wait to get out there. So, when I go and tell my story, I talk about that stuff. I let the kids know, like, this is, it's no question in our mind that you
got to catch it early before you think that you
get exposed to it. Obviously, there's high school parties. People go out and drink, and they like to hit beer bongs and all that stuff. So we don't really go down there to tell them what to do and what not to do. We go down there to share our experience, strength, and hope, and hopefully we can be effective. And if they know anyone that's suffering, they can talk to us. If they're suffering, they can talk to us. But yeah, so Stop Before You Start. That's Danny Murphy's little organization that he's got going on. It's a nonprofit that they go to all the different high schools. So, educationally, this is about raising awareness, and we like to get out in the communities and talk. I do it a lot on a national level. I go to D.C., Maryland. I got my friend Frank Lucas that represents in Virginia, Maryland, all those different states back east. And then it's just what we do. It's what I've dedicated my life to because, obviously, no,
it's amazing of you.
I tainted society as a whole, so I have to give back.
You have such an amazing experience.
Thank you so much.
It's so relatable to so many people. You're making a difference in the world.
Thank you.
If anyone does want to check out the replay of the UCI event, see Paj, see Daniel and the others speak, we did record it. So depending when you're watching or listening to this, it'll be up in the next few days. So check out the Beginnings Treatment Center's YouTube account. It's in the link in the description of this. You can check it out. There's a bunch of different clips. It's great.
Yes.
So on the topic of today,
yes,
nurturing addiction, where do you kind of want to get started here? Where does the nurturing begin?
Well, obviously, addiction doesn't just happen overnight. I believe it starts with curiosity.
Okay.
Speaking from my own experience, I remember being a young kid, probably 12 years old, starting to experiment with certain drugs, marijuana, huffing gas, just things to get my head out of right here, right now. And also I remember the addictions can start with cigarette smoking. So depending on a family member, my mom and dad, they didn't smoke. They were totally anti it. My grandparents on my dad's side died at a very young age of lung disease. But I did have uncles that smoked. They smoked regularly. They smoked in the house. I mean, the smell was there. It was on our clothes. It was in the aroma was in the air. So I would often ask.
Not too long ago, people didn't even know the downsides of it.
Like from secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
It's worse than firsthand smoke, supposedly. Yeah. Which is amazing to me. I mean, firsthand it's going directly in you, but whatever. But yeah, so I remember being in a mall and seeing two girls smoking cigarettes, and they were about 2 years older than me, and I was in junior high school, and I thought I want to go and be with them. So I'm a curious child. I want to go. So what better? I went up and asked them for a cigarette, and then the next, I'm walking with them. We're smoking together. So it starts from curiosity. I think people smoke or do drugs obviously to fit in, to be cool, and then before they know it, because of certain drugs, because of the feelings and the effects that are produced by the drugs and alcohol or cigarettes and different things. Obviously, there's things in them that are addictive, right? So when you start doing it, you cannot get enough. You must keep going. You must get more. And how does one get more? By it, you have to obtain it somehow. It's going to cost money. There are people that will steal to nurture their addictions. There are people that will steal and pawn things off and sell things to nurture their addictions. So it's an ongoing, it's like a job. It's like a full-time job. In order for you to keep getting high or to keep drinking, you've got to be able to pay for it or somehow come up with the money to pay for it.
Sure. We have a comment here. Soul says, I'd like to have you guys film at House of Blessings. What's House of Blessings?
House of Blessings is a house up in Silver Lake where Soul resides and runs the place, and it's
Oh, great.
it's truly a spiritual. It's up on top of a hilltop in Silver Lake. It's a beautiful home.
Should we do it?
Oh, you would love it. I'm telling you right now.
I'd love to. Let's do it. I'm going to hold you to
We're
that.
gonna do
Let's
it.
do it.
So
Why not?
when you're actually in the courtyard of the House of Blessings, you can see the Hollywood sign in all of Hollywood to one side of the city, and then if you walk over here on the side of the house, you can see all of downtown and the entire skyline, which is beautiful and growing.
Sounds amazing.
Yes, I'm an LA guy, so I love LA. You talk to some people in Orange County and they say, I'm going up to LA. They're like, I've never been to LA. Why would you go there? It's so dirty. I'm like,
You don't know LA.
I'm a big city boy.
LA, first of all, LA is huge.
It's
and
huge.
there are so many different aspects
It's
of
diverse. It's a different type of
LA. Oh my
diversity.
goodness. Yeah.
Plus, it's just like a happening city. And if
Yeah.
you want a burger at 2 in the morning,
Right.
unlike Orange County, you can go out and find some place to eat. Except for certain pockets of Orange County now.
Yeah. No, there
you
are
can get food.
absolutely beautiful areas of.
You got some people that
Hollywood.
are saying some stuff. How's it
Let's
going,
see.
everybody?
Natalia says, I love you, what you guys do. We love you.
We love you.
Thompson says, 40 days clean today.
Nice,
Woo!
good job. All right,
That's amazing.
Thompson Lee.
Congrats.
Nice to hear from you.
Okay, we'll cook something delightful for after the show then. Let's
Uh,
plan it out. I would seriously
We will
love to
plan
do
it
this.
out. I'm all about it. Okay, so let's continue on.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so where do we want to take this topic of nurturing? How about enabling? How about from the parents, loved ones, and surrounding people perspective?
I gotta say, I'm happy that you brought that up because, it's gotten to the point where my frustrations of I work with a lot of different individuals.
Mhm.
I work with a lot of people that have addiction. I work with a lot of people whose families are behind these people's addiction. I can't blame certain kids that don't want to get off drugs when their parents are putting the fuel in their fire of their addiction.
Right.
When they're enabling them, when they're supplying the house for them to keep staying in, they're harboring an addict or an alcoholic, and they come to me and they ask me for help, and I tell them, okay, I can help, but I need you guys to follow my direction.
Mhm.
I need you to, whatever I say, we promise you, Pej, we'll do whatever you say, And the second we start getting into the work, often I'll do an intervention. I'll go and sit down with the family. We'll get it all, the pre-intervention. We'll get it all together, up and ready and rolling and everything. And then the second we go in for, the actual intervention itself to try to talk to the person in need, their loved one, all bets are off. They just change their whole tune.
Mhm.
It's really sad because
Why is that, do you think?
Because they're afraid. They're afraid to put an ultimatum. They've been a doormat for a long time. They've been, the wool has been pulled over their eyes, but they comfortably hold it there.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so they're afraid. They're either codependent. They're helicopter moms and dads. They think that they can fix their addict or alcoholic. They think that if they give them the ultimatum and putting them out in the street or having them leave their home, that their loved one's going to go out there and die in the streets. Meanwhile, the sad thing that the reality of it is that they don't realize that person is dying in your house.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how you look at it, it's like, like when somebody commits suicide, everybody like freaks out and thinks, why did they kill themselves? They off themselves. Such a sudden death. We never expected this, right?
No,
So
it's the process leading up.
it's the process leading up. When people are using drugs, especially heavy drugs, especially shooting dope, like whatever it can be, that's like mini suicides, right? It's a mini process of committing suicide. You're killing yourself slowly. Even cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking. I mean,
Sure.
when you're smoking cigarettes, like you're pretty. And so, and I can't. I'm not gonna. I don't judge people that smoke because I know that when I first got sober, I still smoked, and I always had this in the back of my mind that here I came and got sober to get my life back, but I still smoke cigarettes, which is slowly chipping away at my life. It kills me, right? So over a period of time, I read Alan Carr's book, and that was the easy way to stop smoking. And I got like 2 or 3 chapters in, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I got to quit smoking. And it's really cool because I have always had this mindset that what if I have some kind of stress? Like what if somebody dies that's really close to me? Or what if I lose a job? Or what if some life event comes at me sideways, like God just throws me a curveball? Then I would grab a smoke, right? Or if people would have one, I would have one and think I can just have one. And then before you know it, I would go out and get a whole pack because, first of all, that wasn't my brand.
Yeah, plus you allow yourself to have these circumstances where it's okay.
Right. Right. I've come up with all kinds of
Exactly.
justifications in my mind.
Yeah.
It's just one. Oh, wait. I wanted to have one. I had yours. It wasn't a Newport. It was a plain cigarette. Now I must have just a Newport. And how do I get that? Gotta go buy a pack. Buy a pack. There's one plus 19 more.
I've seen so many instances of people as well, like they're trying to stop, just on this topic of not smoking, that whenever they have any sort of drink whatsoever, they have to.
It goes hand in hand.
Yeah, you have to. So
there's people that don't smoke cigarettes at all, but if they're gonna drink,
exactly.
why not have a cigarette? I mean, the hands must balance themselves, right? I have the drink here, I have the cigarette here. Now, I see that Timothy Robinson's asking a question. Hi, Tim.
There's a couple, let's see, okay. Timothy Robinson says, is it possible to work on your sobriety while working around alcohol? Great question.
I love this question. Okay, so...
Yeah, like working in a... What if you work at a bar?
So I know a lot of people that are in recovery that are bartenders.
Okay.
You know... Even in Alcoholics Anonymous, in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, it talks about if you're spiritually fit and you're in a good spiritual condition, it is okay to go to places where alcohol is served. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a person that is kind of not completely sure how to do sobriety and you want to put yourself in those type of situations, it's not recommended. So, yes, it's possible, but what I encourage is if a person is truly taking recovery and sobriety by the reins, by the horns, like really, really taking it seriously, then, there's also a lot of people in
Is there a too soon?
There is a too soon. I think the best thing to do is for the person to work on their spiritual condition and strengthen their recovery and their sobriety to the point where, like I go to places where alcohol is being served. Mm-hmm. I go to places where alcohol is offered to me. Mm-hmm. I go to places where I can smell alcohol. I go to places where people that are talking to me, clear as day, I can smell the alcohol in their breath. Mm-hmm. Does the thought cross my mind that that smells good? Why can't I do it? It used to. It used to in early recovery, definitely. Gotcha. I remember going to a restaurant once with my mom at about 6 months of sobriety and watching this lady drinking a glass of Chablis. And I was sitting across on the other side of the restaurant, but just watching this lady slowly drinking, I'm thinking this lady's just nursing that drink. Like if it was me, I would be on that thing and into my third one, right? Mm-hmm. Now, for me, I'm an alcoholic, right? I'm a lot different than her. So those thoughts, the racing thoughts of why can't, and I remember vividly thinking, why can't I just have one drink? Because I'm not a one drink type of guy, right? I'm just not that way. So, but now, I can go comfortably to places because I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to do drugs anymore. I don't recommend me going and hanging out in a heroin den or a meth lab or anything like that. But I think when it comes to alcohol, yes, I have gone and go to places where alcohol is there. I just don't want to drink anymore. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are very strict about the recovery that say, I don't keep any alcohol in the house. I don't even have rubbing alcohol. I don't have mouthwash with alcohol in it and things like that. To each their own. Yeah. Me personally, if I wanted to drink, I won't drink that to get off. I'll actually go have vodka if I wanted to. That'll actually, that's really going to get you drunk. I'm not going to drink rubbing alcohol. It's just, for me, it's not something that I would even think or fathom of doing.
Do you ever see it as testing yourself?
Testing yourself as in going to places where there's alcohol?
Mm-hmm. And seeing I can get through this, I'm strong. Was that ever a mindset?
It was a mindset in the very beginning of my recovery. I remember that I was fresh out of rehab, but I was still going back to my rehab to do some volunteer work. And I had told my counselor, who was very anti going around alcohol, that, I went out with my cousins. We were all at this club, and everybody was clubbing and dancing and singing. And some were resorting out to the parking lot to do certain things. And some people were inside and they were drinking and they were toasting each other. And then when they asked me if I wanted to drink, I said, no, I'm sober. And then they started toasting my sobriety. And I was really proud to tell my counselor, but I went there, but I didn't do it. So I was testing the waters. He said I was being cocky in my recovery.
Okay.
Now, he goes, it's a little bit soon. You really don't belong in those places. Now, I've also gone
Don't be cocky in recovery. That sounds like another good topic. There.
I've gone to weddings for people that are in recovery. And I've gone to weddings there's no alcohol at all because both people were in recovery. So, and then I've gone to weddings where, obviously like one of them's in recovery, the other one's not, but the families of the people, they're not, in recovery. So there will be two bars. There will be like a non-alcoholic bar over on this side and an alcoholic bar over on this side. And you see me going over to the non-alcoholic bar and having a lot of sugar-free Red Bulls. So by the end of the night, I'm like placeboed out, just on the dance floor, like shuffle, tut, tut, Odie's smiling. You guys, you don't see Odie. You see him on the other show.
He's on. He's on.
I just want to let y'all know, Odie. When Odie smiles, it makes my day. When Odie smiles, I become scattered.
You become scattered.
I become snarky. Odie, come over here and say hi to everyone. Just come
on the
face.
show.
Odie's in the background all the time.
But
now he's in the foreground.
Here's a cameo from.
Look at
Asking Addiction Specialist.
Today, Odie's hair is not Prince.
You'll see him tomorrow on the Beginnings channel with Dr. Bob Weathers.
That's right. That's right.
You get to see Odie in all of his glory.
Yes.
But thank you for the question, Tim. That was awesome.
And I know why you asked it, because I know you personally. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, comments,
I love the questions.
Please keep them coming.
Bring the questions.
Share this video so that we can help reach and positively impact more people. But let's...
real quick, I wanted to mention that this Sober Grind, besides it being on Facebook Live, we are also, it's a podcast, and it comes in many different forms and formats.
Yes, if you could ever just leave us a review on iTunes, it would be huge. Plus, we just genuinely want to hear your thoughts so that we can improve the show.
Yes. And what are the different platforms that it comes out on?
You can find it on, obviously, Facebook here. We put it on YouTube. You can listen to it on any platform, whether you're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, really anywhere that you listen to podcasts. I have a third-party app called Podcast Addict.
Did you say YouTube, too?
Yes.
Yeah. It is on YouTube.
Yeah, right? It's on YouTube. We're also on Instagram. We have a Sober Grind page. There's a Facebook page specifically for Sober Grind as well.
Right, and then also
we are all over the place.
There's also a page on Facebook we're affiliated with that we started called Ask an Addiction Specialist.
Great resource.
Yep, you can click on it right there, and it's in the
the description of this video.
Description of the video, and then also in the top part, you can just go on a little bar up there and write in Ask an Addiction Specialist. So you can go on there and ask any questions. If you or your loved one is suffering from any kind of addiction or alcoholism, and you would like a professional opinion, we have all kinds of different people that work in our field that come on, and they will answer your questions. Or people that are in recovery, they can come in and interject and tell about their experience.
Yeah. Well said, my friend. Back on the topic of nurturing, what about in the workplace? So say you're a boss, or say you notice a coworker that is starting to maybe decline, or maybe you're the CEO and maybe you're not even noticing. What are some things that may nurture the progressive use of addiction in the workplace?
Well, obviously if job performance is lacking, if somebody's coming short, if they are coming in late often, if they're not able to do their job correctly, if they're not functioning properly at work, if they look like they're under the influence, if they smell like they're under the influence, if they are missing, excessive days, these are things that obviously, somebody's could be under the influence of anything. I was just talking to a lady this morning that works with the airlines. Come to find, you think, like, have you ever seen the movie Flight with Denzel?
No, not yet. Is it good?
You've never seen that movie?
No, there's so many movies come out.
Listen to me.
Let's pause everything. Let's put it on.
If you want to see,
I know it's pretty intense, right?
It's intense. If you want to see the best example of an alcoholic,
it's the pilot.
I won't even ruin it for you. Just watch the movie Flight. Okay,
I'll watch it. We'll talk
Go watch
about
it today. Okay, but lo and behold, you would think that most of the people that work in airlines that have problems with substances are alcoholics. I had a friend that told me about certain hours that when they would fly, both the pilots and the airline attendants, they were recommended. It was recommended that they don't drink during these times because obviously they're going to be in the air. They have to be functioning. They have to be working. Right. So, but come to find out today that, and this was this morning, I'm sitting down and talking with somebody, that a lot of people that are working in the airlines are not just addicted to alcohol. Obviously, with the epidemic that's going on, opiates is a big factor, but methamphetamines.
Really?
I was like, pilots are on meth? I mean, it makes sense. Sometimes the plane gets there a little bit early, right?
Just press a little harder on
but
that throttle.
the fact that these people, there's people that, our lives are in their hands and they're flying, numbers of people in the air and they're under the influence of drugs, right?
It's a scary thought.
It's a scary thought, but it's in the workplace. So, this is something that, pilots need to get help. They can come short. Depending on their job performance.
A lot of lives on the line.
A lot of lives are on the line. But in the workplace, a lot of different places we will often see, job performance. It's all based on job performance. Same goes for students. If you see a student that does really well in school or has been usually doing really well, all of a sudden their grades decline and they get put on academic probation and their teachers see that something's wrong with that certain particular student, then there's something to address there, because obviously the person might be nurturing their addiction with whatever it may be. A lot of kids on campuses these days, they may have started off with a Adderall prescription, but when they run out of it, then they start seeking it in other forms. I was talking to this guy the other day, young man in his 30s that used to go to Santa Barbara College, and I believe that he started off with an Adderall addiction, and over a period of time he grew, dependent upon stimulant type of drugs, and now he's a full-blown meth addict, and he's not sure if he wants to quit yet. So to each their own. But what I'm saying is that the reason why he doesn't want to quit is because, for one, he moved back to his family's house. For two, he doesn't pay for anything, and for three, he's able to rob and steal in various outlets to be able to nurture his addiction. Went perfect with the topic. Did you like how that worked?
Yeah. We have a couple comments from Soul here. I have a friend that is working in a sobriety, but this is in a very abusive home. The abuser is the father and is a police officer. How can I help? Have you ever had to intervene on a police officer? That's a great
I'm trying to think. Have I ever had to intervene on a police officer? No, not to my knowledge. But as much as I used to try to distance myself from any kind of law authority, I wouldn't hesitate to do it if it was necessary in doing it and helping them. I would love the opportunity. Yes.
Any advice?
Well, it depends. I think I know the friend that she's talking about. I have a friend who's very abusive at home. The abuser is the father, and I would separate myself from the father and get out of that environment. It's a bad dynamic. Any kind of abuse is not necessary. It's something that I would recommend that people separate themselves from their abuser and then work on their own trauma that's been caused as a result of abuse.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We're running a little low on time here, but that was also a pretty good segue into what other professions have you seen heavy drug use in?
I
know.
Obviously, we have a lot of athletes. We see a lot of athletes that get caught up in the party life. Musicians, lots of musicians. I think in everyday life, I think anybody. It's not like people aren't susceptible. Anybody can fall into drug use and alcohol use and addiction.
A lot of actors.
A lot of office workers. A lot of blue collar workers, a lot of union workers, the railways, lawyers, attorneys. And it's funny that for each demographic, for each different type of job, there's always the popular drug. Like attorneys aren't going to be, they're going to either be doing meth or cocaine. Probably cocaine, because cocaine's the rich man's stimulant, and methamphetamine is the poor man's stimulant, or vice versa. I mean, they could work hand in hand. But there's obviously a lot of I see a lot of nurses, sometimes doctors with major addictions, because they can get firsthand.
They can steal it.
They can get the best drugs. They can prescribe. They can have their friends prescribe. So
there's a whole show, Nurse Jackie. There's a whole show about that.
Yes.
She was a nurse that was an addict.
Yep. Yes, there was.
I watched a couple episodes of that. Good show.
Yeah. Is it on Netflix?
No, I think it was on HBO. I don't think it's on anymore.
Nurse
but
Jackie, so I can look it
yeah.
up.
Yeah. Oh, you never seen it?
Actually, I have HBO Live, so I can find it on there.
Yeah, I think it's HBO. If not, I'll find it and get it to you.
Yeah.
Good show. Check that out.
So, as far to close off the show, when it comes to nurturing addictions aren't just substance abuse. Addictions can come in all different types of forms.
Yeah.
We talk about this quite often. There's food addiction, there's sex addiction,
Gaming addiction.
game addiction, porn addiction. So, how does one nurture their addiction? They keep seeking it out. Their sex addiction is on the rise. I mean, I'm sure it's always been there, but now there's actually like 12-step programs that are geared around sex and love addiction or sex addiction, and I see a lot of people addressing their addictions because they realize that it's become a problem in their lives. They can't function, especially like a sex addict can't function in the real world. They fall apart because they're always obsessing and thinking, and how can they nurture their addiction? Or food addicts, when it comes to food addiction and eating disorders and things like that, the obsession to continue to either deprive yourself of food or overeat. I mean, a person that is an overeater is always thinking about their next meal or their following meal or the following meal, and in between that, and how they're eating their feelings and often nurturing their addiction. So it comes in so many different forms, shapes, sizes, and that's that.
Yeah. Hopefully this was a helpful topic for you all today.
I thank you all for tuning in today. We thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's always a pleasure to do the show with you, Austin.
Oh,
Truly,
likewise, my friend.
truly. And Odie.
I like it. Yes, Odie behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
It's always a great topic.
You're my right-hand
It's a great
man.
show.
He's my wing man.
I'm my left-hand man. Literally. We're also right and left-hand side.
That's right.
So if you're watching this or listening to this afterwards, please feel free to leave any comments, any feedback. If you have any questions, you can always email us at austinorpej@beginningstreatment.com. You can leave comments on these videos, and either of us would be happy to answer to the best of our ability anything that you have going on.
Yes.
Until next time, Sober Ground out. Goodbye, folks.